A collision with a semi-truck is different than a collision with a car because of the weight of the truck. Semi-trucks weigh 80,000 pounds, an average car weighs 4,000 pounds. When you're involved in a collision with a semi-truck driver, it's important for you to have an attorney to help you navigate why the collision happened. Also, truck drivers have additional rules as professional drivers that they have to abide by when driving their semi-trucks. In a collision where a semi-truck is involved, it gets complicated really quickly because if you just look at the truck, there are several parties who could be responsible for that truck. The owner of the truck, the operator of the truck, the company who hired the truck to haul the load, and also even perhaps the company who loaded the load. So it's like unpeeling an onion. You have all these different layers, and unless you are familiar with the business and the industry of trucking, it's going to be very complicated for you to manage your own case. When you're dealing with a claim against a trucking company, you think that you didn't do anything wrong because the collision wasn't your fault, but yet the insurance company for the trucking company is acting like you did something wrong, or they're delaying or not even responding to you. Getting an attorney involved early on will help avoid these frustrations that you as the victim don't deserve to go through. The first thing that a good attorney is going to do is they're going to send out a preservation letter to all of the potential businesses who own or in any way involved with the semi-truck that was involved in the collision with you. It's important that that evidence get preserved as soon as possible, and the parties involved know that that information needs to be preserved. It's eye-opening how much documentation goes into making sure a semi-truck is safely on the road. Most people don't know how much information those trucks are supposed to have pertaining to the load, pertaining to the driver, pertaining to how that truck is run, but attorneys know that. And that's why it's important that you hire an attorney immediately after your collision so that attorney can make sure that that evidence is preserved to prove who is responsible for the collision. You may be surprised to find out that there could be more people involved in the responsibility of that collision. Oftentimes there's a different owner than a driver. There's a company who hired the truck to run the load who may be responsible. There could have been a different company who loaded the load. And all of those things need to be looked at. When your car has been damaged in a collision with a truck, it is important that you talk to an attorney right away because you may find it difficult to figure out who insures the truck that hit you. Sometimes you may not have the right collision to cover your own property damage on your own insurance policy, and so you want to look to the insurance that should be covering who is responsible for this collision. Without an attorney, it may be difficult to figure out what insurance that is. If your car was totaled, you have the right to be paid for what is the fair market value of your vehicle. However, that process to ascertain that value and to get the offer from the insurance company sometimes can take weeks or months. You have the right to be given a replacement vehicle or be paid for the days that you do not have a vehicle because your car was totaled, and that's called a loss of use claim. A loss of use claim can be cashed out or you can be given a rental vehicle for those days. That's an important right that you have, and you want to ensure that you make that claim for yourself. If you're having trouble making that claim, you can find an attorney and we can help you make that claim on your behalf. If your car is not a total loss and your car is repairable, then the person who is responsible for the collision should pay for the repairs to your vehicle. If during that time your car is not drivable, then you have the right to be paid for the loss of use of your vehicle. Loss of use can either be paid cashed out, like a daily rental amount, even if you don't use a rental car. Some common causes of trucking collisions is definitely distracted driving, or a driver may not be qualified to drive the truck they're driving. A lot of the reasons these collisions occur are not necessarily obvious. It's something that a good attorney will figure out on your behalf. These cases can be a lot more complicated than they appear on their surface. Unfortunately, the insurance limits for trucking companies have not increased over the years, yet the severity of these crashes have increased. And because of that, it's important that you have an attorney who can research all avenues of recovery for you when you're involved in a collision with a truck.